This is ICASTnews.com live and direct from the United Nations. Mid-June, the Secretary General of the United Nations held his monthly encounter with the press. There were contentious issues, but the most poignant part was the usually combative, individualistic press. One journalist yielded to another to pose a question that elicited an unusually heartfelt, almost an emotional response from the usually contained, compact, concise, and not particularly loquacious Secretary General of the United Nations, Ban Ki-moon. Let's listen in to this moment at the end of his press conference.
Last question, and then in that case, we have been into the Middle East quite a bit. Let's go to CNN in back. Richard.
I would actually yield my time to Matthew.
Thank you. Thank you, Richard. No, it's directly on this. There's an article in today's Economist called Ban Ki-moon, The Score at Halftime, and it reviews your first, half of your first term. And I guess I want to ask you to respond to it. Under the rubric Truth to Power, they give you a 3 out of 10, and they use the example of Sri Lanka, and they say that Mr. Ban denied that the UN had leaked grim civilian casualty figures. On management, they give 2 out of 10. There are some better grades, I acknowledge, but I wanted you to on management. They say that there's a problem with communicating with senior staff, that you have to show more leadership in drumming up peacekeepers. I might add to that, like the protection of whistleblowers and a free press. I just wanted you to know: do you agree with any of this critique? Do you see? Are there things that you intend to do better in the second term, or what do you make of this piece in the Economist assigning those 2 grades?
I regard it as a judgment of economists. There may be different judgment on my performance. First of all, during last 2.5 years, I had the 3 priorities. First of all, to catalyze a global response to critical global issues like climate change and managing consequences of international economic crisis, global health, and global terrorism. And on climate change, you may agree with me that from almost dead, if not dead, dormant status, this issue has risen to the level of leaders of the world. It has become top priority issue of this world. Now, I'm going to really work hard to seal the deal in Copenhagen in December. I'm working for whole humanity, this future of the planet Earth, delivering results to those most in need. You should know that I have been working very hard to represent the well-being of the most vulnerable people. I have been working as voice of the voiceless people and defend those people, defenseless people. You see my performance on the record. Then reform. You should understand that this has been all accumulated during last 60 years. During last 2.5 years, I can proudly say that I have made significant changes in working culture of the United Nations to make this most transparent, accountable, and efficient, and mobile, and effective. I don't claim that I have finished all. There are much more things to be done in the reform process of the United Nations. Look at all these accumulated, very cumbersome bureaucratic systems of the United Nations. I am also very much, in a difficult position to move this reform process ahead. Have you ever seen that somebody who has been as passionately as I have been doing to change this working culture of the United Nations? There will be some complaints, and people just love business as usual. They simply don't want to change. This is what I really wanted to change. You should look at very closely and follow me. What I have been doing, what I have in my mind. I have never left the climate change, reform of these United Nations. I'll continue to do that, whatever somebody may say. But be sympathetic and just try to closely follow what I have been doing, just based on just conventional wisdoms. Fix your eyesight and vision on 21st. Don't look at this 1950-60, where United Nations was the only universal body. Now you have so many international actors, European Union, African Union, OAS, and ASEAN. United Nations must work together in close coordination with all these organizations. And we need the full support of the member state. Without political support, without resources provided by the member states, it is difficult. However capable person one may sit here as a Secretary General, it's just impossible. I need more political support. I need more resources support by the member state. Then judge my performance on the basis of that. The mandate should be supported and accompanied by the resources and political support. Don't just look at my performance on the basis of just a vague or conventional perception on the United Nations. The world is changed, has been changed. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thanks for that.
That was Ban Ki-moon's June press conference. Ban Ki-moon, the Secretary General of the United Nations, showed himself, in his terms, quite passionate in this discussion because he was hit hard, high, low, and in the middle on issues of his conduct. An Economist article just out about rating his halftime, in other words, midway through his performance as Secretary General, gave him low marks for management of reform at the United Nations, for failure to bring transparency, for failure to act in significant areas, most notably in Sri Lanka. And for a man who is usually under control, he continually made reference to, I want to be judged by what I accomplish, not what I say. I'm dealing with a huge bureaucracy. You have to watch what I do, not